cortisone cream in the US
market. Is it a popular
markets.
product? Any idea about the size?
It's $119 million in terms of market size. $119 million. Okay. But we have to see the amount of competition. And if we just pull up Sun Pharma, you'll see a bit of a nick in the stock on the downside. Simply because pricing pressure in the US, especially for the dermatology segment, becomes something which is the most important thing to track, especially for companies with a strong dermatology base, which Taro Pharma has. So more on that in just a bit, but those two stocks should be on your radar post the Dr. Reddy's approval that they've received, and that's flashing on your screen soon enough. But the other company that we need to actually talk about is Endurance Technology. The company is in focus after they reported what was a decent set of numbers. In fact, this is the first quarter that they've reported this time round after their listing that had taken place in October. And remember, it was a good listing that it had. It was up around 35% on listing day. Mr. Anurag Jain, the managing director of Endurance Technologies, now joins in on the line for more on their Q2 numbers. Mr. Jain, hi, thank you very much for taking the time out. You know, everybody knows what you did in Q2, so I just want to start this conversation by asking you about the impact of demonetization on auto ancillaries. We've seen the November auto sales come out from the likes of Bajaj Auto as well as, Eicher Motors. Your sense in terms of what kind of on-ground assessment you can give us?
Yes, of course. We have also been affected like the rest of the automotive industry. It's very difficult to say how long it will last. But, generally, Q3 is the weakest quarter for us in general every year. But this demonetization has further compounded this issue. But let's hope it comes back fast, because see, endurance sales are about 80% is only two-wheelers in the Indian market. And I think the transaction sizes of two-wheeler or transaction amounts of two-wheelers being less, plus being an essential item, I think it's mainly a postponement of the purchase. It is not a cancellation. So we hope that two-wheeler does come back fast, but very difficult to say how long it will take.
Could you, Mr. Jain, good morning, Prashant here, give us some numbers, sir? How much has this been hit in the quarter? I understand postponement, but nevertheless.
See, in fact, this month still has to, get completed. But what I would like to say is we are trying to see that the financials are same as last year, same as 15-16, third quarter.
Now you're saying you'll attempt to keep the full year financials at the same level as last year?
Yes.
And without this impact, it would have been higher.
Yes, for sure.
17, over 16.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So just to, just dwell on the topic a little more, ICRA had announced, that they're possibly reducing the growth assumptions for the auto component industry for FY17 to 6.5 to 8.5% versus 8 to 10% earlier.
Yes.
You wouldn't agree with that assessment?
See, I mean, it's very difficult to talk about the next two quarters, which is third and fourth. But see, we have grown at 10.1% consolidated. And to be honest, that was our figure, when we went ahead this year. Now, this demonetization has had an impact. Now, if it recovers faster, maybe January, February, then we won't be that badly impacted, But it will all depend how fast the two-wheeler sales will recover in the market.
You have Royal Enfield as one of your clients. Bajaj is your biggest client at around 50% of domestic sales.
Yes.
But Royal Enfield is at around 6 to 7%. It completely outperformed the market even in the month of November.
Yes.
What are you doing in possibly to increase your component supply to them?
Yes, see, in fact, Royal Enfield, if you look at our India sales, it is about 9.5% of our India sales. Consolidated is about 6.5%. And in fact, we are supplying all the four segments of our product with very high share of business, except for the braking segment, which we have just started 3 months ago. So I think the braking share of business will increase as we go along. And I think mainly the growth of Royal Enfield, and trust me, they have not been affected at all by this. So they are maintaining the numbers, and in fact, they are increasing their sales in the fourth quarter of this financial year. So I think their growth will help us, and I think the brake segment, which we just started this year, will further add to our sales.
So just one quick point, have any of the OEMs told you that they are shutting production lines for a day, 2 days a week, essentially reducing production from their side?
Yes, it has happened. It is happening in this quarter, but see, it normally does happen where, especially in the last week of this month, because of maintenance and all, they do shut down. Now, it's very difficult to say it's because of demonetization also, or it is their normal preventive maintenance they do in the last week.
Yes.
But definitely on the whole, I feel there has been an impact for sure.
Are you at liberty to talk about which clients are?
No, I cannot say that. I'm sorry. It won't be fair.
Okay, fair enough. That point is taken. Just to wrap up the conversation, at least from my end, Mr. Jain, I wanted to get a sense that if you did revenues of around an 8% growth in Q2, margins which were up around 60 basis points and a profit growth of 15%, give us a sense in terms of what Q3 would look like when you compare it to Q2.
Of course, I mean, it's difficult to guess till this month is over. But see, definitely the sales will be lower. Like I said, the quarter 3 is weaker. Of course, we are trying our best through our operational efficiencies and consolidations of plants, as well as outsourcing, to see that we are trying to maintain the margin.
So would you be flat? Would your margins be flat? Would they be declining? Would your profit be flat, or would it be a marginal growth? Just to give us a ballpark.
See, I would say, like I said earlier, quarter 3 to quarter 3, we'll try and maintain the same financials as last year.
Okay.
That's our target. In spite of all these external factors affecting us.
Mr. Jain, thanks very much, sir. Appreciate you coming in and